Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to the Vanilla Xonotic Duel Cup, sponsored jokingly by Xonotic.pickup play pickups. Yeah, this is a Duel Cup on vanilla base game Xonotic maps, ones that are included with the game. And here's what's going on. So today is this time, or 5 minutes before. The bracket I'll show in a minute. Sign up, map pool, Stormkeep, Final Rage, Fuse, Silent Siege, Arabium, Warfare and Boil. Couple of servers. Upper bracket will be best of 3, lower bracket will be best of 1. We'll probably end up doing the best of 5 grand finals and best of 3 lower bracket finals. And here are the players that we have. Kota, Spike, 5e, Kyle and Mackie. And let's head over to the bracket and I am going to live hit the button for the shuffle, which should be here. So yeah, 5e, Mackie, Kyle, Spike, Kota, all signed up, all confirmed. Boom, shuffle seeds. And then over to the bracket and refresh. And I need to bring that up on my other screen. Oop, move that over there. That looks good. You can still see the bracket. We could probably zoom in on that, to be honest. Okay. We'll figure that out in a bit. But here we go. We first start off with Spike versus Mackie. Then we go to Kyle versus the winner of that. 5e versus Kota. And then it all goes off from there. So we'll be back in the first match. Here we are then, the first game, Spike versus Mackie. We're on Warfare, and then I've forgotten the rest of the maps already. So hopefully these two remember, otherwise we'll have to check it somewhere else. Mackie here, starting off on the lower end. Spike looks to be going for the Mega Armor as well. Gets both the Mega Health and the Mega Armor. That is going to be a big advantage. We are expecting some early game stomps. The brackets did not come out with early easy runs, but we should get some good games throughout, generally. Oh, I need to press that to get follow killer on. I forgot about that. There we go. And Spike picks up a second, 42 seconds in. Hanging around for the armor. It's a smart play. I wouldn't expect Spike to go full out, tanking for like a lot of frags here. It shouldn't matter too much. We also get to see the amazing colour changing that this game has. If you set your colour to 15 in the console, you get a colour changing, which Mackie actually plays with, which in TDM is absolutely incredible. Because she has to see, you know, if you're on red, sometimes both teams are red for a second or two. I was sent a clip of some confusion in a big tussle for the strength power up in a 4v4 game. Good prediction here from Spike. Clearly knows this map. Not many people will do in a duel sense. This is quite a common map to be played in deathmatch. Very good deathmatch map. It was played quite often when I was playing insta deathmatch as well, and insta duels especially. So it's quite a good map. It's very vertical. I like it, Xonotic style, being very vertical. And the placement of the armors and mega health is, they're all quite trapped. It does make it a bit difficult to come back sometimes, because it's difficult to lay a trap when you're behind. But you can get some good damage out in between fights. Spike picking up a strong early lead. The expected victor here is, of course, Spike. By a fair way. Mackie, good aimer, but not really a Xonotic or Arena FPS player. Mostly playing Wild Assault as a bunny rabbit. So hey, should be alright to bunny hop, you'd have thought. I don't know, I've only watched her stream like 3 times playing the game, but no idea what it's like. Spike's controlling the armors here, which could be a good thing. So Spike going up against Kyle, who is probably the strongest active dueler at the minute, I think. Spike going up against Kyle, well, the winner of this game going up against Kyle in the next match. So definitely sensible for Spike to not kind of space out, to really just focus on getting comfortable with that sort of thing. That is an unfortunate -1 for Mackie. Probably going for the shot, I would assume, and getting knocked back by Spike's rocket just before taking the click. Imagine survived pretty well through here. Spike's got to drop down and like push in and force it. Couldn't take that fight from afar. Took a lot of damage for it as well. But Mackie getting to the fights for a lot of these items, actually, that's definitely something good. A lot of players wouldn't be around, wouldn't be getting to the fights for these items. So despite, you know, losing every fight for the item, that's less of an issue. More of an issue is actually being there. You know, you can be just outgunned. That's a thing. But, you know, playing in position. Let's swap over to a bit of Mackie POV for a second. Might not last long, but we'll go for the respawn one. So respawning, getting the Hagar. Trying to do a little bit of chip damage. It's not too bad. Not too bad of an idea. It's difficult on this map to not take a fight, you see, because of the wide open centre, very reminiscent of something like Arrow Walk. Spike backing off here. It's not sure how much health he's got at the minute. So he's going to back off. Mayhem. He is well stacked, of course. Mackie doing the kind of the worst amount of damage in some of these fights. Just enough to bring Spike below the ability to start scooping up items that Mackie would want. In a fight like this, you know, Mackie's going to get out, want to scoop up a couple of items from around the edge, but Spike might have picked them up from place to place. This is one of the maps, it's taken me a while to understand where that mega armor is for some reason, and it looks like Mackie has that as well. Not rotating round to check if the mega armor's up, because Spike is now leaving things a little bit longer, not quite holding them down to the seconds. Definitely worth it. Spike, good play from Mackie there, actually. Getting on the item just a little bit too early. But in that position, you want to be on the item. You don't want to try and get in and fight for the item. Whereas Spike is better off to turn up to the item as it comes up. Mackie is absolutely better off coming for the item earlier. Being stood on the item just in case it comes up. You know, especially if you don't know the exact timing. I doubt Mackie's timing really at all. Kind of vibes based 30 seconds, I would hazard a guess at. Spike will probably be timing sometimes 5 seconds, sometimes it will be down to the second. At the minute it looks like Spike's kind of timing front half of the minute, like to the 15 seconds. You sort of say, is it the front half or the back half? And that's something you can do when you've got both items under your control and you know your opponent doesn't have them very well timed. You can say, this is up around the 7-minute mark. This is quarter past. So yeah, this major item, Spike will probably have that coming up at 7 minutes, so it gets there early. The Mega probably has it coming up at 30 seconds, which is pretty close actually. But yeah, timing to the 15 seconds. Has it down, I think had it down in the 20s, so might be timing just off the first digit there. Mackie's going for it, gets unfortunate with a little bounce, can't get the second landing, doesn't quite get the spacing across to it. But Mackie back up with a good shotgun usage there, one of the slaps coming out pretty strong to be able to bring her back up to a 0 frag game, at least not going negative. Going to be waiting a long time around on this item, so Maki completely no idea what time the item's coming up. Playing decently with the Crylink actually. I'm not quite sure how much knowledge Maki has of what that Crylink does, but the Crylink will pull your opponent towards you, so it makes their movement harder. So in that situation, a good weapon to have out, because you're basically saying, come over and fight me on this ramp here, on this block, you know, come across the gap. If you do that, I will shoot you with the Crylink, it will disrupt your movement, you will fall. And hey, you can do it by accident, you can do it on purpose. Beautiful shooting there from Spike. Going back to taking control of this map. He's been playing mostly floating, so it'll be interesting to see. I genuinely cannot remember what the next map is, but yeah, Spike playing generally quite floating around the map rather than holding down any positions, which is probably the best for this map. You don't want to stay at the top. There's not a lot of pickups at the top other than the Mega and the rocket launcher over the side. But you also don't want to stay at the bottom because that's the easiest place to get ambushed around these corridors. Very nice shooting there. Spike absolutely using the curvature of the rockets and the self-detonation stuff, which is always good to see. You know, we're doing this because Xonotic is a unique game. It's a game unlike any other. So it's good to see the more unique parts of the game getting shown off. 10 seconds left here. Can Maki pick up an extra? Spike's not going to make it to 40 bomb, but Maki going in with the blaster, just putting a little bit of damage down, and Spike in the last second makes the frag. 37-0 on our first map of Warfare, and I will see you back in the second map in just a second. Second map then, Spike versus Maki. We're on Final Rage. This is Maki's pick. Another map with a large open centre, as I mentioned before. So this is Maki's pick. What are you doing, miss? Completely not going for that. That could be a good tactic actually, because it will delay it for Spike, but Spike has seen what time it was taken, so it can be a good tactic because you can catch a person out if they get the first frag like that. Now if Spike was expecting that to come up at 30 seconds, would now rotate over to pick it up, but Spike knows that it's been delayed by about 10 seconds or so knows to take this fight and then get out. Maki using the teleporter to get out of that fight. Knows this map a lot better, I'd definitely say. I've at least played Maki on this map. I think we've played some 2v2 on it before. Warfare, a lesser played duel map, whereas Final Rage, very commonly played, one of the big five. An absolutely fantastic duel map. I need to put the auto follow on. And here we are, Spike waiting around at the Mega. Getting there early this time. Like I said before, if you're not completely in control, you sometimes want to get in early. Final Rage is a map where it can be possible to have control over the items but no control over the positioning, and control over the positioning but no control over the items. So you can box someone in completely and force them to just hold one position, but they can be the one picking up every single item. And it can bring a balance about with that, because you can, if someone's stuck in that room or the Mega armor room, you can do a lot of damage to them through that. So Maki seems to have the timing on the item actually. Playing around there, going up that way, does indicate that she's got the timing. And playing a little bit more of a smart game, not rushing into the death quite so much on this map, which is good. We like that. We're seeing improvement immediately. It's a rough seeding game, you know. The real game is probably going to be between Maki and 5e. That'll be a very interesting game, and I think I will try and get a watch on that one. There will only be 8 games played, so I'm just going to go and get a watch on every game that's possible. And yeah, Spike knows this map incredibly well. Played it many a time. In fact, Spike's been around here for long enough that Spike will remember the time where this map didn't have a warp zone. In fact, I've watched Spike play at this map. Oh no, Mackie got a self-kill again. Yeah, I've watched Spike. That warp zone didn't used to exist, pre-warp zones being a thing. It was just a teleporter, a normal teleporter. And Spike will remember that version of the map when back in next year is. We were setting up the pickup bot, and Spike's the one hosting it. Thank you very much, Spike, for that as well, and for the servers. But Spike was setting up the pickup bot, and you have to register your Xonstat ID. And Spike goes and types in a 4-digit number. Mine's 6 digits. And I've had an account for 8 years.
Mayhem.
So yeah, Spike very, very early into the game. And held the account for all that time, you know. Holding the... never lost his key. Which is really good. I was surprised I didn't lose my key, because mine's my first key. And I was distro hopping at the time. In the game, we still have Spike just holding everything down. He's just been running the frags, running the items, getting them kind of vibe timed. Yeah, I wouldn't say he's holding complete timing on the items, which is generally better as a way to play in this game. This game's so quick, you know, you're not playing Quake Live. But I have noticed that Spike almost certainly realises Mackie's skill with the Nex, with the Vortex, because he's been collecting that pretty often. And it could just be for ammo, but I think it is that he's spotted that she's very good with it. And that makes sense, Counter-Strike and other less arena shooter type games. Xonotic, a very projectile based game, other than this one weapon. Potentially the most powerful weapon in the game, but on the other hand, a situational weapon. Because having clear line of sight in this game, it's not as much of a thing you need as others, as anyone who's watched my dual commentaries of Wolfie will know. You don't actually need to be able to see the other person to shoot them. Let's head over to Mackie for the respawn play. Runs straight past, takes the bounce pad up, but just trying to avoid Spike right now before having a weapon, and would really like something to come up. Knows this item's coming up, I think, takes it and needs to get out of this. Gets a beautiful air shot, needs to just run away, pick up some health, grabs the Nex. Again, Mackie definitely knows that her Nex is the strongest part of the game. Sometimes when you watch her play, you wouldn't notice she's a Counter-Strike player, you know, looking at the floor all the time. But, hey-ho. Playing pretty well around there, nearly gets the shot off. But Spike swapping out to the machine gun. Very briefly. Great shot there from Spike to bring things up to a Carnage, a 25 frag streak. We are hoping out for Mackie to be able to bring this back and get the -1 off the table. But unsure if that will happen or not. Very nicely done there. Mackie dodging around. Goes to go up the bounce pad. Probably the safest bet there to try and go up the bounce pad, but can't quite manage it. Trying to float around and pick up the Nex, but Spike's just going to keep denying it and chase, knowing Mackie hasn't got any weaponry in that situation. Now Maki definitely does have the timing for that. That is the first time I think I've heard an Armageddon in a very, very long time at least. And Spike now just floating around, getting the frags, doesn't need the items as much. I think just leaving this to try and warm up the aim a bit more for next game. Because we can definitely now say that Spike and Kyle will be meeting in round 2. Ooh, nicely curved there. Maki trying to get out the way. Probably would have if it wasn't for the curving. And I think the self-detonation as well from Spike. Knowing that he could do it. Misses that blaster shot, but that's alright. You can see the great prediction on the bounce pad. Knows the timings between them. That's something that comes with a lot of practice. That you know the speed of all the bounce pads. Because they're all different. They all give a different amount of force to get you to that next level. Oh, absolutely stunning frag there. The calmness, just knowing what can she do? Falling out of the sky. What choice do you have? Decent play around that telephone pole. Not telephone pole, around the wall, I suppose. Just holding things down. Is there no sound for 40 frags? Spike gonna go unkilled in this game. It's not a shame to go unkilled in this game. Yeah, it happens. But I think Spike now just trying to get couple more frags on the board, maybe bring it up to 45, but it's unlikely to happen. Armor's not up for 6 seconds. Spike, the game's going to end. And there it does. Congratulations to Spike, taking this first map 2-0. And we will move over to our next game. Okay then, the second game, Kota versus 522. Boyle, Silent Siege and Erbium are the map picks, and we start off on Boyle. Need to get the follow killer on. We'll start off with 5e since it is its map pick. And just to make up for all the times that I have messed it up, it's cotangens, not cotagens. But I'm still just going to say Kota. Good damage coming out here from 5e, but Kota's got the major items, so we'll be able to be stacked up and take a longer fight. Not sure quite how well Kota will know this map. It's a reasonably well played map, certainly in deathmatch on smaller maps. Apparently it's actually a 2v2 map, so a very small 2v2 map. But I love it for its verticality, something that Xonotic does incredibly well. Because of course remember that this is a celebration tournament of all the amazing maps that Xonotic has, even without having to download extra maps. Kota, the heavy favourite to take this. That's a really tricky jump, the one that Kota just, I don't think actually was trying to go for, but just bumped into on the way over. Really hard to do, actually. Much easier to just pull the blaster out and flick it up. But it is doable. And you'd definitely be able to practice it and really get control over it. Nice dodging there from 5e. Both of these two are heavy Xonotic defrag players. xdf.gg/guide to find out more about Xonotic defrag, or just, you know, check all the videos on my on my YouTube channel. Good movement there from Kota. Just staying still, holding down the position. You know, the best way to dodge is just to not dodge at all. Sometimes. 5e comes in. And yeah, Kota just able to hold down and make some good shots. Great shooting there from Kota. He just stays in one place quite nicely, actually. It's a good way to duel in actual fights, to just stay in one place. It's something you don't see so much. You see 5e moving around a lot, probably from more clan arena type matches. That's the better way to do it when you've got multiple people shooting at you. But if you're just in a 1v1, you can just dodge the shots that are coming at you, rather than trying to dodge everything and trying to be unhittable from somewhere else. But it can make you quite predictable. You see 5e just going left, right, left, right, left, right. And Kota just kind of waiting until it comes back and is there. It's my way of aiming with a vortex or any sort of hit scan weapon. The big shots like this, you don't flick like that. You just wait until the crosshair, the enemy is in the crosshair, and then you shoot. And it works really well. It's why all of my crosshairs have that open centerpiece, so you can just wait until the colour changes to whatever the colour enemy you've got. Kota keeping good control over these items. Another one where I think we're going to see control continue to be held, because it's worth holding control. Oh, beautiful shot with that charged up Hagar. Rarely do you see a one shot like that, but the Hagar secondary is incredibly powerful. 5e comes in, does a good bit of damage with the shotgun. Ducking and dodging around the teleporter, but does eventually go down to the mortar. Yeah, you rarely see it use the Hagar. Very powerful tool, the secondary of the Hagar. But it takes a bit of time to charge up, and it can be dangerous because it will explode if you don't use it. Very nicely done with the Electro. Kota's really good at using multiple weapons. 5e has got them low, but they will be stacking up with more items. 5e not really around to take many of these fights. Sometimes coming in a little bit after, which in this situation probably means 5e doesn't have the item timing, just playing vibes based, which is absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with vibe based playing. Vibe based coding, no, bad. Vibe based playing, absolutely fine. But yeah, 5e probably not in great control of where any of the items are when they're coming up, but knows where Kota is and is able to get there after to try and do a bit of damage, limit the losses. Does seem to be more limiting the losses than actually fighting for it. 5e unable to get up the stairs there. Kota jumps in a little bit early. I would have thought there wasn't really much of a threat of 5e going up and getting that. If it had, Kota would have been able to just really stamp down and get the frag. But Kota playing very well. And again, yeah, as I said before, Kota just kind of holding down like Spike was, making sure to take all the items, making sure to get comfortable with the flow of the map in such a way when you're completely in control like this. I mean, Kota absolutely dominating right now. You can lose touch with how to play a map when you then go and have an opponent that puts you under pressure. It isn't good to just dominate. You're not going to get better by just dominating all the time. But at the same time, you've got to take these, you've got to stay warm. And Kota's doing pretty well with that. Holding things down, letting 5e have quite good free reign of the map, I think is the main thing here. 5e getting the free reign over the whole map. But Kota's holding down the pieces of the map that he really wants. Items and the upper ground, which comes with the items in some ends of the map. Great shots there from Kota. There is a bit of a ping discrepancy here. Oh, actually there isn't. Huh. It just looks like Kota's zipping around a little bit more. Let's pop over to 5e for some shots. See what's going on. For a couple of respawns. I think, does Kota have a colour changing bind? Ooh, nicely done there. Predicting 5e going to come up the well, hearing 5e coming up the teleporter and just putting the time and putting the pieces in place to make it happen. Nicely done. That's the jump I was talking about before. Fairly difficult jump to do. Well, beautifully timed there from Kota. You can't be mad at that one. It sucks when you just pop out of a teleporter and you get done, but when you see it at the end, you can't really be mad at it. You just have to look and go, cool. Nearing up to 25 frags. Not the high fragging that we had from Spike versus Mackie, but I think 5e's been playing a little bit more defensively and backing out of some of the fights, whereas Mackie much more likely to just absolutely smash in. Go for every fight possible. 5e finally getting one frag, but immediately gets slapped by Kota off the respawn. This map also much less high fragging when you really go for it even, which Kota hasn't been. But neither was Spike at the end of the day. I'd expect Kyle, if he manages to get an advantage, Kyle will dominate. You do indeed lose 100% of the fights you don't take, and I lose 100% of the fights I do. Unfortunately, I don't have that bind at the minute because it's the bind to turn on all of that stuff. There we go, 28-1 on the first map. We head over to Silent Siege, picked by Kota, in just a second. And in we go to Kota's map of Silent Siege. Map number 2, I need to change the map picks. There we go. I remembered to change it this time. Are you proud of me? Kota going straight in, gets caught slightly off guard without having the charged up weapon. Hagar, that's the one. Silent Siege is a much more popular map. This is in what seems to be the main rotation of tournament maps at the minute, which the reason I'm doing this with all Xonotic maps is because that rotation includes far too many Quake Champions remakes. I think Kota will play with the Hagar quite a lot on this. It's much easier to use with the corridors and everything around this map. Charged up Hagar, when someone bumps into you, you can just do an absolutely devastating amount of damage to them. But I also, yeah, just like that. You just bump into someone, do an absolutely devastating amount of damage. The splash on the Hagar isn't as bad as the mortar or the rocket launcher, so you're not doing quite as much to yourself with that. Nicely done. That's how you shoot the vortex. You just wait until the crosshair is filled, and then you shoot. Very nicely done. Kota is a fantastic just dueler in the sense of in the battle, in the duel. It's not particularly aim, it's everything, you know, the movement, moving around here, just getting into position. 2 health and nearly surviving. Absolutely incredible. But 5, you're going to make the frag, pick up that 50 bubble. No major items up. Kota's just picked up the armor. 5e pushing into this fight. Possibly doesn't know that Kota picked up the armor, but nearly gets the frag actually, because Kota didn't have any weapons. Just the machine gun at the time, I think. So now Kota will be wanting some more armor. By picking up the health, the mega health, only just about surviving. The Hagar coming in clutch again. To keep, really keeping Kota alive a couple more times than it's actually fragged 5e at the minute. Some great accuracy with that next. 66%. 5e getting the shot. Pick it up, the mega. Gonna get out of there just with 2 health. See, can they manage to survive? The shot's coming out, the health starts to regenerate, but Kota will eventually manage to land the machine gun. Kota clearly not knowing quite how low 5e was there, because I don't think he'd have been using the secondary of the machine gun, and would have instead just been spamming the primary, like knowing that 5e only needed 1 or 2 shots to frag. 10 health a shot. It's not nothing. Decent damage there from 5e, going in with the machine gun again. Seems to have picked up a little bit more now. Kota hasn't been able to take complete control of the map, which has helped a lot. But 5e a bit out of position with that one. Both major items are up now. Will Kota know and go straight there? Kota making a move, picks up the mega. Gonna be able to get the mega health, mega armor. I expect Kota to just go straight up and over to it, and there it goes. This map has so few items that the 50 bubble is marked on the side sheet. That's what's currently up, but due to this being XPM, you can't pick it up unless you're low. Great shooting there by 5e, but gets picked off by Kota, who picks up mega health and puts a decent chunk of damage into 5e with that. And a nice takedown. 5e's held some good control here. Had positional control for a little bit of this map early on. The comeback is possible, but I do feel like Kota will just ramp things up a little bit. Kota knows how to play incredibly defensively and passively, and when to play passively. The difference between those two being defensive is you're happy to lose the items, but you will be there. You will try and get some damage on the exit. You're going to be doing damage from afar, but you're not aggressively attacking. You don't care about getting more frags. And passively is I'm hiding and running away if I see you. That's normally what happens 1 minute left in a game where the comeback is possible. You know that frags are the only thing that matters and that items don't. If there's a chance of a comeback, you'll do that, but you might have to swap back to playing defensively if the comeback is real, because you don't want your opponent to come back, get it to overtime, and have you completely out of the picture. And you don't want to play passively too early, because otherwise you might not get to overtime. You might lose quite a lead. It is very possible to lose a lead in this game. Frags can come thick and fast. Unlucky positioning there from 5. He just gets hit by the necks. And completely dead stop movement and a sitting duck for that rocket to come in. In other news, I hope I put Wout van Aert in my team for today. I intended to, but did I pussy out because there's a big climb and put him for tomorrow? Good movement from 5. He dropped down by the necks of Kota. Kota playing a little bit more defensively now. Really wants these items, doesn't want 5e to be able to take them. I think Kota has seen that 5e is quite strong in fights. But all that means is that Kota needs to just take more items, keep control of items, and he'll be able to win this quite comfortably as we come to 2 minutes left to go. 5e pushing in, not able to land any of these shots whatsoever. Kota playing around on the back bench, through the walls, through the doorways, and gets 5e up against the doorway, and it frags itself. An unfortunate end to that one. Mega health up. Kota in position, drops down onto it before 5e comes through and gets an impressive and a beautiful drop down shot. And now just charging it up. Kota's going to just hold this middle position for the rest of the game, I think. Drop down, peel off, go pick up the items. I forgot to pull the map picks away.
1 minute remains.
Apologies for completely forgetting everything. I really should just make things simple and not have these overlays to change. 45 seconds left on the clock. Can 5e manage to pick up another one? It's going to be a big struggle for it because Kota is fully stacked. There will be one more cycle of items that are worth picking up. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kota goes for both of them. By the looks of things, wanting to just hold down this map rather than being more aggressive. But 5e just moving around fast, showing off the defrag play. And unfortunately goes down and ends up on 0 frags after all the work and after getting 2 fantastic frags earlier in the game. Through just repeated punishment of Kota. Goes down to 0 at the end with 2 suicides. But that's how it goes sometimes. GG, and we move on to the next game. Here we are into Spike versus Kyle. We're on Boyle, and then we go to Fuse, and then we go to Stormkeep, and I'm not going to put the overlay up because I'll forget to turn it off again. But this is probably the predicted Grand Finals once all's said and done. This pick was made by Kyle. Kyle picking Boyle. But yeah, Kyle wasn't sure if he was going to play this tournament because dodgy map pool. But hey, glad he's here. So it'll be a good fight between him and Spike. On some maps I would say that Kyle's probably not played so much, but Spike has. But Kyle with the slightly better, generally you would think the slightly better direct fighting experience. Spike with some good timing on these items right now though. Holding it down but can't manage to find a frag. Kyle playing back. And playing defensively. Gets a good bit of damage off while Spike's not looking. Now 15 seconds between the items. Spike will know that, Kyle might not. So Spike's going to try and bait Kyle to waiting at the items longer than he needs to, and he is able to do that. The item's coming up right now, and a beautiful first blood there from Spike. Picking up the item on the way down, grabs the Mega. Gonna grab the Mega health now. Does a good bit of damage there to Kyle. Kyle playing the fast and loose, aggressive style we're used to. He's bouncing up and down like a pogo stick with that blaster. There's an early lead here from Spike. But it's going to be difficult to maintain. Kyle can do a lot of damage very quickly, and you can see how much he's moving. He's very difficult to track, Kyle. Especially on a map like this, with the amount of corridors and the amount of verticality that this map has, which is something that makes it so fantastic. It'll be difficult to track where Kyle is. Now, something interesting we just saw was Spike going off that bounce pad and then going a completely different way that didn't require the bounce pad. Now, either he just made a mistake and went the wrong way, or he's trying to trick Kyle into thinking he's going a different direction and staying up high. We are with two players who are definitely good enough and definitely listening for these cues, of these sound cues, to know where each other are and what the other player is doing. So, yeah, this is going to be a really interesting battle. Any close games are good, but the better the players, the closer the game, and the better the players, even a highly swung game can be incredibly good. Get the auto killer, follow on, and swap over to Kyle. Do need to figure out a way to turn that on automatically. Kyle definitely has played this map before, knowing the spawns there, looking directly down for it.
Triple kill.
And Spike out the air, getting the third frag. Is low, but can stack up. Spike hoping to get a good bit of damage here, and definitely needs to deny this Mega, but he's going to go down, and Kyle's going to take the Mega. Bring it up 4-2. Spike in a decent place. He's going to take a bit of time, and he manages to get a slap off and get the frag coming out. Absolutely fantastic play there for Spike. Beautiful movement. You can tell he's a defragger. xdf.gg/guide to find out more about defrag and improve your movement today. Bit of a scrappy fight there for Spike. No wonder Kyle manages to get the frag on that one. Spike just unable to connect anything particularly, and Spike looking confident, moving on, getting the shots out. He's not able to connect too many spawn frags together. He will try. I was amazed when I found out you could go through there. It's a mutual frag coming out for both of them. The splash getting each one
5 minutes remain.
with each other's projectiles. But Kyle, 4 frags in the lead. Gonna make it 5 through the teleporter. It's a tricky one, that, because you're never sure. Go through the teleporter, they could put a rocket right on you. Don't go through the teleporter, and they could already have a rocket where you're going. Spike ducking and diving and dodging. He's playing decently, and he manages to get the frag with the shotgun. Opens things up for him at the perfect time to be able to pick up this Mega. Doesn't connect with Kyle there, but he's got a decent idea where Kyle is, which is surprising. Kyle, usually one of the more unpredictable players. Kyle misses the Mega armor though. Almost incredibly bad for him. But he doesn't take another hit after the armor comes off. He's only got one more shot in this next, so he will need to find some more cells for it. Takes the shot and it switches out. There's a firework just gone off outside my window apparently. Going for the slap there, Kyle. It makes sense to go for it. It's such a powerful hit to go for the slap. (11-5). It's a redeemable scoreline, but Kyle will now start playing more defensively. He's got the lead that he's happy with. He's got a lead he probably thinks he can take. 6 frag difference. I reckon Kyle thinks he can take this all the way for the last 3 minutes. And he'd probably be right, as long as Spike isn't able to get a lot of spawn frags, which this map isn't too easy to spawn frag from. It would take a lot of spawn and refrags to make that difference up. But Spike's going to give it a go. Kyle's playing defensively, not passively, as was talked about earlier. So Spike is able to take some of the items, but he's not going to get every single one for free. Kyle not participating in that fight for the Mega Armor because he didn't have the weapons at the time. But he will now be down here trying to get some damage off onto the Mega Health, but he's not too fussed about Spike taking it. So a much different game being played right now. Spike can't push in because he doesn't know how much damage Kyle's going to be able to do if he just pushes in. But at the same time, Kyle doesn't need to push in, but also isn't able to fend off a lot of a fight. 2 health. Spike manages to keep himself alive again at the perfect time for that fight to happen, with the item coming straight up. 10 seconds for both of the both of the armors, the big and the major. Kyle's in the perfect position, slaps Spike down. Spike now knows that Kyle's taken that armor, but a lot of it gets wasted away from a couple of shots. The lead goes back out to 5. Minute and a half left. It's going to be tricky for Spike to bring this back, but he brings it back to 4, and he's going to be able to find this respawn frag, but Kyle gets out of there. I don't think Spike's actually going to get this one. Kyle, absolutely fantastic movement, managing to do just enough damage to force Spike to not chase him too much. Otherwise, Spike might have found himself going down if Kyle had turned around. Good shot there from Kyle. Forces Spike to go down. I just think that Spike's going to run out of time on this one. 3 frags to find in 60 seconds. It's going to be tricky. It's doable though. Absolutely doable. And a fantastic game that we've got on our hands. 2 frags, 40 seconds left. Spike's moving fast now. He wants this armor because he knows it's right there. But he won't go for any more items, I don't think. He'll pick up the ones that are on his run, you know, if he's only got to bump into a wall on his way to where he wants to go. But I'm surprised he's even going for this Mega, but that is it. There is no point in going for any more items. That armor comes up at 2 seconds to go, and everything else comes up after the game is over. 10 seconds to find 2 frags. Spike just isn't going to be able to do it. He has ran out of road, as they say. And Kyle is going to take this one right at the end. No frag, not going to get it within 1. A fantastic game there on Boyle. Absolutely showing the incredible of this map. If you can get 2 people to play it that are incredibly even matched. And we will head off to Fuse for our second map. Map number 2 then. Kyle took the first on Boyle. And here we are on Fuse. This is a map that Kyle will have played very often. One of the maps in the more general map rotation. A map that I used to believe was made by Spike. It was actually made by City, who made Silent in Quake 3/Live. It's a very similar map to Quark, which Spike did actually make. So Kyle starting off playing very fast here. He wants to get a lot of frags on the board. On Boyle, he wasn't able to get into his stride straight away. And Spike pushed him. Pushed him there. So we'll see if Kyle can just rack up the frags on this map. A map he's going to be much more comfortable on, really. having played it so much more. As I said before, Spike will have played all these kind of maps a lot more than the others, but on the maps that Kyle has played, it's going to be much more interesting. But I think for the rest of the games, it could be interesting to see who's played them and can bring some knowledge across from Deathmatch, because all of these maps are fairly popular on online servers because they are included with the game. So they are votable on basically every server, which is cracking. It meant that I didn't have to go around checking that anyone had the maps. Good shot there from Kyle. Spike manages to make the frag. And I'll turn that on again. I will get a bind or something to automatically do it at some point. Somehow. I'll figure it out. I'll probably just send that every time I load a server, to be fair. Just have it on a game hook. Cracking frag there from Spike up in the mid-air and takes himself out. Very unfortunate one, but hey, it happens to the best of them. And Spike is absolutely one of the best of them. But a beautiful return to form there for Spike as he flicks that up. But the item's not up as soon as he thinks it is. Mega health coming up in a few seconds. One of the big armors is up. This map will have a lot more frags on it than Boyle. For one, it's just a faster, more open map than Boyle. But also, Boyle has many armor shards hanging around the outside. It has the 50 and it has the mega armor. Whereas Fuse only has 250 armors, meaning you can't get more than 100 armor unless you go for shards. But realistically, you're not getting more than 100 armor in this map. And that will take some control. Kyle down on 7 health. Spike needs to get a shot in, but he can't before Kyle's picked up the mega health. You could see the speed Kyle was going, really using the defrag skills that he's picked up since starting to play that to pull himself across and just get there as fast as he could, because he knew he needed that mega to survive. 100 health and you can't be one shot. Kyle low on ammo, has to try and duck out, and I think it confused him there. He just looked to lose his rhythm a little bit when he ran out of ammo. Beautiful shooting there from Spike. Knew exactly where and when to place the electro balls and when to detonate it as soon as he saw Kyle. I've seen Kyle do this before. It's incredibly good tactic. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out for him as he goes down to his own shot there. But yeah, dropping down off the side, the opponent thinks you're running away and then going straight back through the teleporter. And you could see it caught Spike a little bit by surprise. Though he was able to turn around, react and get the frag because he was more in control and had more health and armor. But Kyle plays beautifully through teleporters, as we just saw there, and catches Spike by surprise on the outside just by standing there. Not really moving around much, just comes through and gets taken out. Spike running low. He's trying to get out of here. Kyle's not been able to bring as much of an advantage as I think he'd have wanted in this game. Spike has been a little bit dominant over the positioning, but Kyle's managed to get so many frags out when he's had the positioning control. Spike just hasn't been able to get as much as he would want. Oh, Kyle, beautiful movement through the teleporter, managing to pick up the health straight away. Keep himself out of the danger zone, under 80 health, and you can be slapped, you can be direct rocketed, and you can be vortexed. So under 80 health you do not want to be. The armor picked up, but Spike's got the mega. No, Spike doesn't have the mega. He doesn't have the correct timing on it. He gets out of there. He's going to try and make it across. It's a mutual frag. Who's going to get the closest spawn? Spike gets the closest spawn. Is able to pick up that mega armor, and he gets the 50. Carl just going to get out of there. He knows that it's not worth taking the fight too much, and it was definitely the correct decision, nearly bringing Spike down there. Carl will know what happened there. Using the Crylink, the only weapon he had, but you could see that he was looking down there, Kyle, just staring straight at the floor. He's trying to hit the floor and then have the things bounce back up, and it just makes them a little bit more predictable in that sort of situation. Clean, decent movement there from Spike. Has to go a couple of flicks. Good hiding out there from Carly. He manages to make the frag. He's keeping this very well. He's yeah, that talk where I was saying playing passively versus playing defensively. He's played passively in a couple of places and lost a lot of frags for it, but he's known when he's been able to give away those frags and when he's been able to just make it work and get some damage in and retake the control that he would like. Beautiful shot there. Spike brings it back. It's 11-10. Good shot there from Spike. He's predicting where Kyle is. This game slows down because both players know that we're late in the game. The next frag is probably the one that changes this whole thing. It'll be so easy to convert it. Kyle manages to knock Spike from getting that mega. Picks up the mega himself. Spike just needs to get out of there. He's panicking. But Kyle gets the frag. 2 frags in the lead now, and Spike massively on the back foot. No mega, no armor, no health, and no weapons to take the fight. Kyle racks up another one and looks like he's putting himself into a dominant position. Spike, unfortunate choice of where to go off the respawn there. Can't really even say it was a respawn frag, but it was just an unfortunate direction to choose. And he runs straight into Kyle, who picks it up, gets the 4 frags into the lead, and has enough health to take a few more fights and pin it down. I think this is it. Spike pushed it to the wire. He really did here on this map. But Carl's going to pick up some great frags with this. Oh, so unfortunate for Spike. But he played well, and Carl's played fantastically too. It would be an absolute bloody miracle if Spike manages to get 5 frags in 30 seconds on Kyle. Especially with 2 health left right now. Manages to get that frag though. Nice playing that time around the pillar. Around the lamp post. Gets another frag. It is possible, but I think Carl's going to be able to delay respawn. I would think. Yeah, Carl's just gonna run away. He's not really there. Plays the lower. It's hard to catch people in the lowers, and Carl's just flying around at great speed. Fantastic game. 2-0 to Kyle, but both games incredibly close there. And I look forward to possibly seeing these guys again further through. So congratulations to both of them, and we will move on to our next game in the lower bracket this time. So here is the bracket so far. Spike beating Mackie, moving on to play Kyle, and has just lost to Kyle and dropped down to the bottom bracket. 5e versus Kota puts us with Mackie versus 5e in the next match that we are going to see. And after that, it will be Kota versus Kyle, Spike versus the winner of this one, and then we will move on. Let's go for this first map in the lower bracket. We're on Silent Siege. We have Mackie versus 5e. And yeah, I think this could be an incredibly good game between two decent players. Mackie has played a lot of FPS, very commonly plays FPS, but not so much FPS like this. More FPS with hit scan weapons and slower movement, and generally more tactical, but also a few things like Wild Assault. Currently her main play, whereas 5e plays more faster paced games, TF2, this, but mostly in things like defrag. And TF2 doesn't transfer over so well to Xonotic specifically, I find. Mackie's picked up the first frag very early though, but I expect this to be a higher fragging game from these two. They both have played very aggressively. Mackie a lot more so, but it's whether 5e can respond to the aggression and be able to punish untimed aggression, mistimed aggression, or will it have to falter and get taken out by the aggression, get surprised by it? Both the possibilities, and we will see what happens. Mackie pushing in now, 5e absolutely drilling rockets perfectly, and Mackie just can't make the shots that count. Tying it up at a minute and a half in. Interesting movement from 5e. This reminds me of every time I play a lot of defrag and then go back to vanilla movement. It's just like slightly jittery and slightly too much. You're kind of all over the place. Mackie probably converts quickly, plays a lot of games. Hey Aldra. So yeah, Mackie should convert quickly between modes. Just playing super aggressive, both of them staying in the fight. That was complete confidence and faking having a better position than you actually have there from 5e, who was definitely did not have the health to stay in that fight and was kind of going, yeah, I don't think that she's going to hit this shot. And Mackie didn't, but did this time. Evening things up for us a quarter of the way through the game. The timing on these two not going to be happening so much. Things will just get picked up as they're rotated around, which, interestingly on this map, isn't so much. You know, Mackie's headed over to the Mega there, probably because she just went, oh shit, yeah, Mega might be up. I'll have a look. Same thing just there. Popping round. Having a look. 5e has taken it about 20 seconds before Mackie turned up. So they've both got a decent stack and a way into this game. But will either of them be able to take control? 5e with the spam weapons, not using so much the Vortex, whereas Mackie, I expect to use more the hit scan weapons, the Vortex, the machine gun. Just to prove me wrong, you know, curse of the commentator, and Mackie goes down into the fire and can't get out. Doomed to burning, or whatever it says. Cooked. Cooked in this instance. Five's holding down the position just by moving around the map really quickly. Mackie's going to grab the Mega, which will be pretty useful for her. A good shot there, but nice movement from 5e, but it doesn't pay off in the end. Mackie just hitting too many neck shots. The slightly slower movement of these two in the fights, it is closer to things like TF2, which both of these have played a fair bit of. 5e definitely more than Mackie, but neither of them are strangers to slower movement games. But they're both sticking out these fights, and it's all tied up as we approach the halfway point. The Mega armor's up, Mackie's got the two mixed up, I think, here. She's going to leave as it comes up. Quite literally could have heard the respawn noise, I think, from that position. But 5e's going to make a fantastic shot with that beautiful blue. I love that blue so much on that electro. Mackie is going to pick up the mega health. 5e only going to get the mega armor, unfortunately. But beautiful mid-air. Can 5e connect the final shot? It does with the air shot. Takes it to 6-4. An absolutely fantastic set of shots there. Mackie just trying to duck and dodge, but 5e hitting the shots at the right timing that controlled the movement a little bit more. Now there's no way that 5e can control the map for the rest of the time. So it will be trying to get more fights in, but Mackie's got some good shots off there. Managed to collect another frag, bring it back up. Is going to get this item, yes. I thought she was about to run away just before. 5e's probably going to get this frag just enough and just survives the lava. But now Mackie with the mega health brings us back to almost a tied game. Can Mackie find 5e before 5e's able to stack up? Mackie not well stacked, but with that mega armor, it's going to be helpful. A great shot to tie things up in the air. That mega health's going to be there. And Mackie going down for the shards. Manages to pick up the mega health as well. Some pretty nice shards there. Just going for, 15, 20 armor. And end up with 100 health on top of it. Mega armor coming up in just a second. Good dodges of these grenades. 5e pushes in to try and make it, but gets the self-frag in the mid-air. We saw it happen versus Kota as well. On that exact corner, in fact, but with the Crylink against Kota. Good direct shot there from Rocket. From 5e with the rockets. A frag with the blaster. And Mackie has a good score lead for the first time, I think, in this game, actually. I think 5e's always had it. Mackie not managing to get more than one frag in the lead. We have a 6-9 scoreline. Very nice. 2 minutes left on the clock. 5e just pushing in super aggressively after the respawn. It's usually a pretty good tactic. Both players going so low for that frag to go down. 5e manages to pick it up. Definitely Mackie getting caught by surprise on that one, because 5e's tactic was to push in and be aggressive and try and take the frag because Mackie wouldn't have much health after their last fight ended. But Mackie picked up the mega health in the middle of it, putting her massively in the massively advantaged in that fight. But 5e just stuck it out, and I really don't think Mackie was expecting it because she just whiffed all the shots. 2 health there from 5e, getting away with it again. Mackie's hitting these shots. Have we got a reverse in damage? Oh, we could. If 5e manages to take this one, we would have a reverse. Well, we do. Yeah, 2.7. Mackie taking more items than 5e, which I generally wouldn't have expected, but I think that Mackie possibly has been paying slightly more attention to what I've been talking about while watching the streams in between the games that these two have been playing. If I had to say, I've been friends with these two for a few years. If I had to say one of them was more competitive, it wouldn't be much of a contest of who's the more competitive personality. It's definitely Mackie. But a fantastic game between these two. 30 seconds left. 20 seconds right now. It is enough for 5e to make the frags, and it will have heard the we'll see the timer, but I think that's going to be it. Maki should take this one. The reverse sweep incoming for Maki. It could happen. It very well could happen. Congratulations to Maki, who will be moving on. Commiserations to Fivey, who will be knocked out. And we have some fortunate news. I'm going to flick over to the bracket. Let's update the bracket here live while recording. So Fivey versus Maki. Maki takes it. Unfortunately, Spike has forfeited and has had to go. So we'll be getting Maki going through to the next round. Can I get a refresh on the bracket? There we go. So we are going to have Kyle versus Kota in the semi-finals in the next match. Here we are then, the semi-finals, Kyle versus Kota. We are on Boyle, then we go to Erebum, and then we go to... I can't remember what the third one was. But we'll see when we get there. This is the semi-finals. We are still undoctored by Spike's forfeit with this one, remember? So, this is the true semi-finals. And then it's the lower bracket that gets changed up a little bit. Both of these players have played Boyle already today. Kyle making it his pick. Spike pushed him last time. We'll see what Kota can do in this situation. Kota's been playing very well recently, and I haven't actually seen Kota play against this kind of opposition in a while. But he's definitely been getting better. So we could see him at least pushing one map fairly well. Unfortunate respawn there, and Kyle takes the second frag. But here we'll get to see Kyle moving around, doing what he does best, sending it high in the sky.
Triple kill.
If you only just noticed, I've got 3D item models. The 2D ones have some minor bugginess in certain situations on certain maps. And it seems to be that most people wanted it. I asked. 2 people responded and both of them said 3D. So I turned them on. Good movement there running away from Kota. You can tell that he's the defragger. Unfortunately, Kyle is also a defragger and able to get there as well. Kota flicking around trying to avoid the spawn frags. But Kyle was on top of him. A couple of unfortunate spawns there. Spawn fragging on this map doesn't seem too bad. Kyle keeps going for it, but I think he's only got it once or twice. Beautiful with the slap. No, not everyone in the cup's a defrag player, but everyone... no, everyone is a defrag player, yeah. Never mind. Yeah. Spike the least defrag player. Well, other than you, but you're also not a Xonotic player, so that doesn't count. But Spike has made XDWC maps. Who else made XDWC maps? Kota's made an XDWC map now.
Massacre.
10 frags up for Kyle here. He's going to run this map rampant. Percentage-wise, Spike is less of a defrag player than you. I think Kota's colour changes depending on what movement buttons they press, or what weapon potentially they have out. If it's weapon, that's giving the game away to anyone who uses colour picker. Out of the park there. I do quite often forget that that part of the map isn't shielded by glass, and also sometimes that those parts are shielded. Remember to brush your teeth twice a day as well. But if you can't muster twice a day, once a day is fine. If it's worth doing poorly. Kyle just absolutely tracking Kota. He knows where he's going to come from. If he hasn't gone round one way, he must have gone round the other.
Mayhem.
And Kyle finds mayhem. 15 frags in the first 4.5 minutes. We'll see how far he can manage to push it up. I do expect Kota to potentially be able to come back into this. I would think it would definitely be very possible. Without Carl even letting his guard down, it just relies on a little bit of luck for Kota, which that's always something in these. You've got to get a bit of luck. Kota will just need a couple of good hits, Kyle to miss a couple of shots. I know it doesn't look like he's going to do that at all, but it would definitely be something that Kota would need. But just something like this, just a good bit of damage like that, that starts it off. Kota able to get some good damage. Very nice, but how has Kyle managed to hit that shot? Oh, that's a big crash in the Tour de France. Oh, that's a bad crash in the Tour de France. Absolutely fantastic shot there. Great movement. It's a shame that that Kyle managed to hit that, because it was fantastic play from Kota to try and pull that off. At exactly the same time that there's an absolute hugie in the Tour. It is raining a lot. Kyle making his own movement plays, trying to push into Kota, be more aggressive. I think he wants a high score, maybe a 40 frag. It's definitely on the cards, but Kota's doing a lot of damage, and of course by trying to frag high, Kyle is going to lose more health, because Kota will be able to punish that. Good damage dealt there for Kota. The Megas are up. Oh, Kota's just gone the wrong way. That Mega Armor was right above him. It was probably the sensible thing to do if he didn't know that the Mega Armor was there. It'd be a risk to go straight up. Kyle would be able to just put one shot from the Vortex and then finish it off with a rocket and just do that final little bit of damage. But yeah, Kyle going absolutely ham on this one. Hopefully we can bring back some of the best players that aren't around right now. I do plan on keeping up doing this. So, you know, we might be able to bring back some other players. But Spike pushed him hard. It's a shame that Spike's had to drop out, because looking at this, you'd think that Spike would beat Kota. But also remember the levels of things here, okay? So Spike and Kyle went pretty even, right? Kota did to 5e what Kyle is doing to Kota right now, and what 5e and Maki were pretty even. So, and then Spike did to Maki what's happening right now, this kind of destruction. So you've got those three levels quite easily, that Spike and Kota drops down to destroying... Spike and Kyle drops down to destroying someone like Kota, who drop down to destroying someone like Maki and 5e, who would absolutely destroy someone who is brand new at the game. And there will be levels of destruction all the way in between that. And depending on the map as you go up further and further. Kyle dispensing of a vortex for some reason off the edge. For an unknown reason. But yeah, there's always these kind of levels to these games. There's just not enough time to get the frags out.
1 minute remains.
Yeah, dropping weapons is a thing. You don't generally see it in Duel, you know? But yeah, very useful in TDM and CTF. Alatrophy having a heart attack that Kyle's chucked a rail over the edge. Ooh, Kyle just dodging that by accident there. Chucks another vortex and picks up this one. That one's old and battered and used. He wants a factory new one. 3 seconds left on the clock. And there it is. Finishing off with an awesome 34-0. Kota not able to get on the board with this one. We'll roll over to our next map on Erbium, which I'm glad we're getting to see as well. Map number 2. The colours are reversed. Kota versus Kyle. With the dark blue relax for Kota and a light blue for Kyle. Here we go. Erbium. This one picked by Kota. We played this map the other day. Bit of a strange one there. You actually do have to shoot to go up that lift. But this is a great map in Deathmatch. It does play fairly well in Duel. Some of the movement parts are a little bit weird, but in general it plays pretty good. And yeah, I just haven't seen it played that much, but I've enjoyed it. I've played at least 2 games. I think I might have played a third against Wolfie a long while ago on this map, but I've played Spike and Kota on this map. Kyle getting 2 frags up pretty quick in this game. Not sure quite how much he'll know this map. He did, I mean, I mentioned this tournament to him and I think he checked it, but I highly doubt he actually practiced any of the maps before getting in here. Yeah, I was going to say, I doubt that he's played it much, but it is a good map. It is definitely a good map. Highly detailed. It is the sort of map that you think, if this was a Counter-Strike map for CSGO, or especially CS Source, they'd have had a .pro version. Kota has managed to make a frag on the board. I do expect Kota to do well on this map because it is a map where knowing things is going to do you some good. And Kota's played this a couple of times. Because the rotates around the map are very interesting. There's a lot of really cool rotates around the map. Kyle, I expect to pick them up towards the end of the map and start getting faster and faster. And I think we've seen just there, Kyle's going to play slower at the start of the game because he doesn't know the map. There is a fast way up there. By just using a quick flick double jump off the ramp. This map is absolutely 100% made for Xonotic as well. Another reason to use it in this tournament. It was a choice between this and Zoilant, but I thought this is more interesting because hardly anyone's ever played it in Duel, and it'd be nice to get it some love, show it off, because it is a good game. It is a good map. I had good games on it, especially against Kota. It was fairly close for halfway, and then Kota just pulled out a good lead and kept control on the board. But hey, Kota's, you know, shows the practice. Kota able to put some frags into Kyle on this one, which he had absolutely no chance of doing on the last one. But the rotates, the movement, there's some tiny bits. There is a warp zone through there. It's incredible how good the warp zones have got recently. Actually, they've got updated a few times. And yeah, the warp zones, absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I think they are based on colours. Kota's colours are based on weapon held.
Triple kill.
It is insane though, because like you could definitely figure that out. You can get through there? I don't think Kyle knew you could get through there.
5 minutes remain.
I know what means what. He's looking at it. He's used he's literally used the colours. Like rocket launcher is red. He's using the colours of the yeah. I'd expected rocket launcher to be more red, but I think the mortar in this game is considered red. It's not as bad as Mackie playing with the actual rainbow colour changer. Oh yeah, rail is red. Interesting. Rail should be very light blue or white. Because he's sort of the same... Kota's holding this down pretty well at this point though. Not letting Kyle get away with it too much. This is a much slower map than the others that we've seen. Even Boyle, which I know I was saying earlier was a slower map, but this is, you know, a step slower than Boyle. But I don't think that this is just Kyle's unfamiliarity with the map making it slower. This is just how the map plays. Yeah. It does make chasing quite a difficult thing to get away. If in certain places, there's obviously, like here, you're going to get away because there's so many options for you to drop out and go through and just be unseen. But if you're in a corridor that can be chased all the way through, you're just not getting away. But Kyle seems pretty happy with his lead right now. 2 minutes left and an 8 frag lead. He'll just make it 9 there since Kota's there. But he doesn't look to be going chasing down any frags. He's going for the items. He's clearly got knowledge of the routes around the map now, like I said earlier. Able to pick up the frags. I would I honestly, it just shows how much map knowledge is important. Like, Kota hasn't played this an absolute ton. It's not like Kota's coming into this with supreme knowledge of Albion, which would, I think, would possibly push Kyle if Kota had, like, absolutely studied this map. But it would be an absolute play. Like, it would be an absolute Chad play for pretty much one tournament to learn a map, like, extremely. Like this. Oh, beautiful use of that, the shooting through the floors. Absolutely fantastic. Carl now looks like he's more in his element, making a rampage, making it fast. Kota's getting out of there with a mega health and possibly a mega armor. Nope, doesn't quite get to it in time. Kyle slightly confused by the warp zone there, because it just looks like a waterfall. But there we go. 15-2. The scoreline goes 2-0. Kota is going to go down into the lower bracket to play Maki, and Kyle will go through into the finals, ready to play whoever wins that next game. So there we go.
4, 3,
Let's
2,
do this in the lower bracket finals. Kota versus Maki for a place in the grand finals to play off versus Spike. I know what I said earlier about levels of players, but we finally get to check out. You know, we compared Maki and 5e being very close to each other. And the distance that Kota put into 5e. So we will see if my prediction comes true and that Kota puts quite a few frags into Maki on this game of Boil. Kota starting it off slow though, doesn't want to go in too early. That mega armor has just come up and I think Maki will be able to pick it up. Does. Let's get follow killer on before anything happens. They're swapping places up and down as each of them deals just a little bit of damage. Ticks them up the scoreboard. Damage does matter in the event of a tie. That's what the scoreboard will be dictated by. Kota go for that hidden passageway up the top. Maki picked up the first frag though. And that mega armor. Maki chasing. This is very interesting. Maki's clearly watched Kota in this last few games. Been in chat, been studying how Kota plays. What are the ways to beat him? Decided to go on Boil, where Kota had a pretty devastating loss against Kyle. Maki just can't land those shots. Kota moving really fast. Nice damage coming out here from Maki, but it's not enough to get another frag on Kota, who stays alive pretty heavily. Pretty healthy, I think. Yeah, Kota well stacked here. Maki pushes in, doesn't have very much ammo here. Hits the next beautifully. Takes a lot of damage from Kota's spam, and Kota ties things up. 2.5 minutes in this game, much slower than I would have expected it to, but I expect it to get much faster now. Kota has a bit of a lead and has the items. Maki will be wanting to find something. It's that Hagar again. Kota finding the early frag. Maki with the health, with the mega armor now. Kota's trying to knock her off of the outside. 2 big shots there from Kota. Gonna put Maki a little bit on the back foot. Not gonna have too much health to be able to contest this mega health. Ugh. Why do we have to call it a mega armor? 100 armor is also quite a difficult bit of a mouthful. Red armor, mega health. Much easier. Two solid shots there from Kota and finishes it off with the necks on the drop down. Full clan arena playstyle there. Gets a bit of a hit there up on the top. Does Maki something. Maki picking up that mega armor. Kota heard it though. So really select. Bits of damage coming out from both sides. They're keeping each other honest. But it's quite a high, quite a low damage game rather, outside of the frags that have happened, where Kota's been doing them during the respawn for the most part. Not a huge amount of damage in between items coming up, so both players are going into some of these fights quite well stacked up. Kota accidentally lets one off right in his own face. Survives it perfectly fine though. How's Maki's stack looking? Very good after picking up that armor. With 5 minutes left and Maki using the little passage that she was very surprised she could go through just a minute ago. Kota surviving on 12 health here. Good stack up there from Kota. He's playing this very well. Maki's playing pretty good as well, holding things down. When did Maki get a suicide? It was the Tour de France is about to finish. I might have not looked. Mutual frag there, and it comes out in the best form where both players gain a point. Always very nice. Never as good when both players lose a point, or one player gains a point then immediately loses it. Especially when that person is on 0. So Maki getting a frag here. Boyle going very well. I think the most played map this tournament as well. So clearly one that people are fairly confident with. But also play it against someone. It is the first map in the campaign, so most people will have played it. It's the easiest way to test your configs. Just hop into the campaign, press the first map. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people haven't finished the first map of the campaign as well, so haven't unlocked the second map of the campaign. Strong knockdown there from Kota. Does the damage with the rocket launcher to Maki, and she goes down. Maki in the right position at the right time does a lot of damage to Kota. Gonna pick up this this health. Kota doesn't land the shot, but is gonna start healing up. Maki needs to find him fast. Gonna find him on the drop down, but not managed to get the attack out. And finally, Maki gets another one on the board. Picks up both of the major items this cycle. Fantastically done, and might be able to get a frag here because Kota won't be stacked up. The 50 is up, but Kota's not going to have that down to time. Just hitting great shots there. Maki in the wrong position. You know, just the upper and lower positioning. Oh, and a great chase there from Kota to make the frag. Strong hits here. But Kota able to stack them back up before Maki can capitalize. I promise it's not boring. I just yawn all the time. Kota now stacked to the teeth, won't need to do anything particularly. And again, that's stacked up Hagar. It's something I haven't seen so much, but Kota's really been using it very well. Maki picking up the armor, but it's after she's down to such low health that it doesn't matter in the end anyway. Can't seem to get the damage out, just missing those shots like that. Maki just needs that entry, but even getting the entry, it's then pulled straight back by the pickup of the mega armor, the mega health. You know, look at this from the other perspective. If Kota didn't pick up that mega health, Kota would have been on 40 health there after that fight, and Maki probably would have got the next frag, but Kota's positioning is fantastic, and that's what gets him these extra items. He's going to play for the item all the way down. Could get taken out here. There it is, with 3 seconds left to go. Maki's not going to be able to make the next frag, but does survive. 19-2, and Kota goes back up into the grand finals. Let's take a look at that on the bracket. Report the Kota Maki score as 1 to Kota. And we go Kyle versus Kota in the grand finals. Next up. Welcome to the grand finals of the Vanilla Duel Cup in Xonotic. We are on Warfare, and then we go to Erbium, and then I'm not quite sure what the third map is. I'm really good at paying attention, I promise. Kota versus Kyle. We saw this in the semi-finals. We predicted that they would make a rematch in the grand finals. And here we are. These two playing off against each other once again. Kyle makes the first frag. They did a beautiful thing in the map picking. They banned Boyle and then straight away Erbium, which means we don't have a rematch on the same maps, which was absolutely lovely. And yeah, just a best of 3 for this. But Kyle taking an early lead. Kota with the colour changing scripts. Mutual frag coming out there. And Kota takes the frag but then loses it immediately after. So we are now on Kota's POV. Ooh, such a close one on the curved rocket. Kyle dodging everything. Moves so fast. Absolutely beautiful. Kota's down to -1 now. Unfortunate for him. Hopefully he'll be able to get that back. Again, wouldn't be surprised if he's able to make some frags on this map. It's a map that suits both of these two in different ways. It suits the open centre, suits Kyle's fast playstyle. The narrow corridors around the outside suits Kota's playstyle of kind of just attacking from afar, spamming into places, and holding down positions. So, but also all of the corridors are connected in kind of ways that suit Kyle's fast movement and floating around the map really quickly. Kota brings it back up to nothing with a beautiful air electro. Takes a fair bit of damage, but he's playing well on this. Uses the fact you can both shoot and stand on that pad to make the little elevator go up, to try and trick Kyle into thinking he's going up. I'm not sure it makes enough of a noise that Kyle would have been able to hear it. Coat is one of the few people on this map that I think uses the doesn't use the bounce pad, but uses the fact you can use the side of the bounce pad as a little ramp to get yourself up. Just survives with 14 health here though. There's many ways back into this, and Kota's playing incredibly well. He's not letting the fact that Kyle got the previous game against him quite convincingly get in the way of making it a much better fight. It's different maps after all, they can be so different. Kota's also had a bit more of a warm-up. Kyle's had a little chance to cool down, whereas Kota went straight into a game versus Mackie. And then out of that game into this.
Triple kill.
Very nice shot there from Kyle. He's going straight up. You can just bump back into the back of that. Kota trying to get away. He's making some good movement, but just stuck in a place where he can only go in a straight line, and he isn't going to get away with it. 4 minutes in, 8 frags. It's not too bad. He's definitely still in a position where he could come back from this. Makes up a frag. Going. Oh no! So close. Going for that. Nearly dies because he has to do extra shooting with the blaster. I think he probably would have gone down. The blaster doesn't do enough damage. I think that would have still shot from Kyle to bring him down. I don't think Kyle knows you don't have to shoot the back of the elevator. You can walk further towards the back and hit a trigger further back. Kota again taking himself out, but this time with his secret weapon, that alt fire on the Hagar. He's been so powerful with it, but unfortunately this time comes back to bite him in the ass. Ten frags at the halfway mark for Kyle. Comfortably in the lead here. Oh, and he uses that against Kota. Well played there. For the first time we see Kyle stopping and playing slower and waiting for his opponent to come to him. And it works out very well. He hides and Kota doesn't even see him. Kyle's been playing this without taking too many of the major items, I think, actually. Let's have a look. So he's got 6 at 8, which is fair amount, but it's not for the amount of for the amount of frags he's got, it's not as many as you'd think that he'd be able to take. He could have had full control over this map, but doesn't. Kota pretty well stacked now. He's going to be happy with this, going to be happy to go into it. Just has to let go at the wrong time with that charged up. You heard the beep, that was the beep of I'm going to explode in your face if you don't let go of me right now. So he just has to let go, hoping he sees Kyle just in time, but can't flick down to make the shot count. Both players using this a lot, this Hagar. I know it can definitely do a ton of damage in a very quick succession. Kota has absolutely taken control of this map, but he can't find Kyle to actually make it count. Gets a good amount of damage off with that and then finishes him off with the primary. Very nicely done. Is he going to be able to find Kyle again? Kyle waiting round the corner, doesn't want to be taken out. I think Kyle senses that this could actually be a comeback for Kota. He will want to play and dominate and be a bit silly towards the end of the game, I think. But right now, he has to play a bit more cautiously, and he can take this fight. But oh, he's eating an absolute rocket there. But he doesn't have full control here. Doesn't have the ability to go in for anything he wants to. Kota getting away with 6 health. He picks up the item and then goes down. That's the worst possible combination of that. But Kota is going to get the Mega Armor. It's going to keep him alive for a little bit longer, but it's not going to do very much. Carl not able to run away with this map quite as much as he was on the last game on Boyle in the semis, but he is taking a convincing lead. And it was good watching Kota playing, but Kota manages to pick up another frag. Cross map with the mortar. Carl not paying attention to where his opponent might be, can't track him. Kota's going to know that he can't stand in the machine gun fire. Kyle hitting it so well. Kota playing around this post. He'll keep firing. He'll probably shoot some shots and then go out with the top, I think, here. He's just getting a few little nips and knocks. It's too late for a full comeback, but Kota's playing this second half of the game absolutely fantastically. You can't fault this kind of playstyle. Unfortunately, it's too little too late, and Kyle is able to hold it down. Kota should get the frag here. I fully expect Kota to get the frag. Kyle flicks it and takes himself out. A little bit unfortunate, but now he's going to push in. He knows there's less than a minute left. He can just push in and go for some frags. Try and just take Kota out. Kota expecting Kyle to be a lot faster there. Absolutely beautiful frag there in the midair from Kota. And yeah, Kyle's going to be cheeky, try and get in some frags, but he's basically feeding Kota some frag clips here with a 1 health survival. Hey, you'll take that for your frag movie, won't you? Haha, no, no, no from Kyle. He won't let you come back into this. If Kota got any closer, I assume he would have started playing full passively and going into hiding. But as it happens, it's not going to matter. And Kyle will take the first map on Warfare 15-6. Fuse, our next map and potentially final map of this game. Kyle is 1 map up on Kota as we enter this grand finals. And here we go. Yeah. Fuse was Kyle's pick. Kota did a good job on Warfare, but both of these players will be very, very familiar with Fuse. They both play the Relax map pool. And Fuse is a very commonly played map and has been for a long time, made by the wonderful City and not Spike. Which I said that I would never forget and keep saying, and then immediately forgot in the next tournament. So that was good. Kota's got a chance here, but that gets blown up. Kyle just able to hit down the rockets of Kota and stop them from bursting. I forgot to get my follow killer on. Kota hears the item get taken, goes for the prediction but doesn't get the right side of the wall, and Kyle's up, down like a flash and manages to find Kota. He finds a 4th very quickly after, and Kota's on the back foot here. Kyle has got complete control and is making shots like that. He's absolutely confident on this map. This one could run away from Kota very quickly here. Was expected, this is the expected outcome, is that Kyle would win, but hey, we want to see Kota be able to put up a good fight. He did so well on Warfare, was even able to push Carl at the back end. Yes, Carl wasn't playing the most perfect game and wasn't fully in it. But hey, it all counts. If you're going to be in it, you got to be in it. But right now, Kyle is absolutely pulling to stomp this away.
Massacre.
He wants to end this before 3 minutes and really make sure Kota has no chance of a comeback. But Kota's still going to be playing smart. We'll go back to Kota after he respawns on the next frag. Whether that means Kota gets it or whether Carl gets it and we just switch over to Kota. Which indeed we do. But I want to see a proper respawn from Kota. There's some items coming up now. Ah, come on, Kyle, stop fragging him. Right when the items are coming up. He does lose that item to Kyle. Kyle does a good bit of damage. Gets out of there. I think Kyle not top stack in that position. And now Kota's playing a sensible game. He's in position. He's got there. He's just not able to do some damage, but he gets the Oh no, come on. Kyle gets the telefrag. Oh, you hate to see the winners get winning. Oh no. A telefrag can bring it all the way around sometimes, and they're just a tiny bit of luck when you're both going for the teleporter. So close to each other to get a telefrag, especially at those speeds. Both of them were going to come out of that at the full speed of the teleporter. They weren't hanging around on the teleporter spot any more than they absolutely had to. But yeah, Kyle playing with his food a little bit here with the blaster. While he was stood up on the top, it was probably the better move to make. Just forcing it so that Kota couldn't do much damage to him and couldn't get a proper shot onto him while he was up on top. But yeah, when he dropped down, it was just playing with his food. Kyle showing why he is currently considered the best of the active players. Hopefully these tournaments will bring back some more. We're going to get a quick timeout away and see what's going on there. Possibly just some lag from Kota that happens every once in a while. And it just needs a quick timeout, 15 seconds, the lag clears, and we're all good. I will take this timeout to have a drink, but we are getting back in as soon as I pick up my water bottle, and Kota runs away.
Remain.
Halfway through here, can Kyle, the real question now, can Kota manage to get one on the board so that Kyle doesn't go deathless in the finals?
Berserker.
And can Kyle manage to pick up the pace just that tiny little bit in the second half to be able to make it 40? Both are definitely good options. I would put more towards Kota being able to get back a little bit into this game and maybe even score 1 or 2 frags. Well, getting back in a bit would be required to score 1, but 1 or 2 more, so 2 or 3 frags total, than I would on Kyle actually being able to pick up the pace enough, because I don't think he'll go for it towards the end, to be honest. I think it would require Kota to push in and really play aggressively with no weapons, which Kota's not so well known for doing. He is, like here, he's getting fragged, but he's trying to get away. It just so happens that Kyle's able to predict where he is, get in, get the frags, and honestly, the way that Kyle's been playing this, we're seeing so many more respawn frags from Kyle on these on Fuse right now than we have done on some of the other maps. And that's definitely not a dig about certain people's complaints of these maps. Oh, Kota just picking back. He thought Kyle was going to get away. But Kota pulling back and finding Kyle on the other side anyway. And no, Kota goes to -1 with an unfortunate explosion of his own electro balls. I think set off by Kyle there actually. Setting off Kota's... Oh no, because that wouldn't give the frag. So he must have just simply walked over an electro ball while particularly low. It's an unfortunate way to die. But Kyle's picked up the pace just that bit. So 30 frags. He does need 40 frags rather than 39 and the -1, I would say. He's got 2.5 minutes left, so he's absolutely on pace. He has managed to pick it up just that bit that I said he might not. And there we go. Kota manages to get a frag. My prediction of that side comes true. Kyle almost certainly not going to be able to get the 40 frags now. Kota will have a bit of a lead. Kyle now needs to go and get his own items. Kyle just waiting. Absolutely beautiful there from Kyle. Goes down again. This map has a great chances to bring yourself back because it's so difficult to stack up. You don't get anything where you're completely out of control, where the opponent can just quickly stack back up after you get your one frag. That can happen with the Mega, but usually doesn't. It does, however, mean that it's impossible for you to get quite so stacked up by just taking one item. If you just control one item, you're not going to be as stacked as your opponent. But there's your 3 frags that I said. He managed to pick up 4 frags on that little rampage. So it's not bad. Kota can definitely take heart from pushing, even if it was only for a minute and a half. But he does pick it up again. Manages to push Kyle. Kyle only getting 1 off the back of that. Nothing's coming up. Mega is there now. Does a great amount of damage. 128 damage. So that Mega has been completely ripped away from Kyle there. And Kyle drops another frag. Beautiful flick. He's got the intuition. Taught to him by Kojin.
Triple kill.
Fantastic shot there from Kyle to bring it back up, a triple kill. He's not going to get 5 frags. But if he can get just 1 more, then that means we have got a 40-point game. And there we go. So congratulations to Kyle for taking this one. It was good play all round. Spike pushed him all the way. That's definitely got to be the best game, but I really enjoyed Mackie versus 5e in the start of the lower bracket. That was a very close game and really showed off how close and good games can be at every level. Thank you very much to everyone who played. We will check out the bracket. Let me just pump in the scores. Kyle is the winner. We will end the tournament. Bracket over here. There we go. Kyle takes the win. Congratulations. The final results are Kyle takes it over Kota, Mackie in 3rd, Spike in 4th, and 5e in 5th. Thank you everyone who played. Thank you everyone who watched. If you've got this far, you absolutely owe it to yourself to check out Xonotic. Pick up the unofficial kind of sponsors of this tournament. You know, the reason I'm doing it, to try and bring some Duel and other game modes back, even if you don't like Duel. We do TDM, and we do all sorts of game modes. CTF, TDM, Clan Arena, they're generally the main ones, but there's other game modes as well. Pretty much everything that we can fit onto a server. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope you have enjoyed it. And I hope you'll join me for the next one, which I'm not sure when it will be, but keep an eye out on all the official channels and the Xonotic forums where it will be posted. Thank you very much for watching. GG, well played everybody, and bye-bye.